Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Talk podcast by Callstack, which is branching out of our main episodes of the React Native Show podcast. And on Coffee Talk, we usually drink coffee and we talk about just development subject. And one of the hot development subject out there right now is an NPM Kiosk from Remotion, from Jonny Burger. So in today's episode, I'm fortunate to have Jonny with us and to have Michał Pierzchała with me to help me out with the NPM stuff, with some questions and with some context. So let's get started. Michał, maybe you can start by explaining. No, sorry. I want Jonny to start with the problem that they had at Remotion they tried to solve with NPM Kiosk.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, and I'm glad to be able to talk about the NPM Kiosk. So, I think every open source project should have some strategy on how they want to survive. I think just doing everything for free, without having no sponsorship and just doing all the issues, it only scales so much. And for Remotion, I think we want to experiment a bit with selling certain components for Remotion. So maybe not the most essential ones, but a few presets that look nice and that are desirable and that people would want to pay money for it. And so how do you sell a React component? To sell a component, you kind of need to guard it as private and only give access to it to people who buy it. And there are very few solutions out there like private registries, but all of them all had some problems and would not make it that easy for the buyer. So that's why I hacked together a project called NPM Kiosk, which aims to make that whole process easier.
Yeah, so I want Michał to chime in right now and maybe give context to some of the solutions that you just mentioned. Michał.
So we've had a pretty similar problem or a challenge, I would say, with when we were getting the new library that we've developed for one of our clients, and then we wanted to make it open source. But before making it open source, we want to gather some testing groups, some alpha or beta testers. And the library I'm talking about is Reassure. And we announced it on App.js last year, somewhere around June. And as it happened, I was trying to find a solution for not open sourcing the code yet, but be able to let the users use the package that would be available on, for example, a private NPM. So the private NPM registry. So what I figured was the best solution at the time was actually using a private registry. This was also similar strategy to what Remix did when they first announced their library, and it created all sorts of problems because I needed to figure out how to how to add this private registry to a project. I needed to put the library on the registry, make sure that it works, create a instruction for users or our beta testers on how to use it. And I also needed to create a team for this tool, and we used ByteSafe, and apparently, like for the first few days, it turned out that I assigned the developers to the wrong teams, so they didn't have a chance to even download the library itself. So they needed to wait a few days. Someone from ByteSafe actually, and I'm very thankful to them to reach me out actively, reach out to me and said, "Hey, you need to click this and that for every of this 50 people that signed out this time or something like that." And so this was a really cumbersome experience. And as it turned out, there wasn't like too much attention from those early adopters. Let's say, I think there's this high barrier of entry prevented them from using the tool easily, so they just didn't. And we figured that, hey, we're gonna open source it 2 weeks later anyway.
So I guess the high entry barrier you are speaking about is the authentication part, right? Because you have to distribute the authentication to everyone to be able to reach this package.
So when you wanted to be a part of this beta tester group, you would need to sign up to a third-party service, the ByteSafe. Then you needed to go through a few steps to add a custom registry, etc., and then download this specific package from the certain registry. So it was very, very much cumbersome, and we eventually dropped the idea because it was this way, and I would never do it again. Like I would probably go with adding people to GitHub directly, so that they have the access to the project and can download it this way. But it would also be cumbersome. They would need to create forks or whatever. So that's why when I first seen your video on NPM Kiosk, I was super excited. And the first question I had is it possible to create like free packages through NPM Kiosk, but still be a part of this closed solution for
How about we start from the beginning though? How about we start by explaining what the kiosk even is?
Yeah, okay.
Jonny.
Yeah, like your anecdote that you told already said everything, that these private registries can be really troublesome. It sounds really easy, but in the end you have to synchronize some secrets across teams. And especially if you then want to sell your NPM package, it is all about making the user experience super nice, right? So I tried to I was looking to create a nice user experience for getting an NPM package, a private NPM package. And I was looking at, okay, what ways are out there to install an NPM package? Okay, you can get it directly from the NPM registry. You can use private registries with secrets. You can specify a Git repo, but that repo has to be public. And there's the possibility to download an NPM package from a tarball. So essentially just a zip file which has all the contents of the package. And that made me think, okay, having a link seems like the most promising way to do it. And I came up with the idea, what if this link would point to a serverless function, which then grabs that private package and forwards it to the client with some possibility to do some validation, like, for example, check if somebody has a receipt or any other way authenticated, or maybe you can rate limit it. But now we have an opportunity to write some code that determines whether a user should be allowed to download the package or not. And yeah, this is the idea.
Okay, so you are selling some parts of Remotion, not all of it, but like I said, some plugin here and there, some most wanted features, some quality of life improvements, let's say, and you charge for it. So what system handles the charging, and how do you stitch it to your serverless function?
Yes. So in my case, I decided I want to charge for it. Of course, there are other ways you could use this mechanic. You could make a free package, but the user has to watch an ad, or you generate a private link for someone that has like a password in it. Which
that's evil.
And people hate it, by the way, but I think watching an ad to download an NPM package could actually be, no joking, a good idea, especially for packages which have like 3 million downloads a week. They could maybe make enough pennies that maybe sum up to a bigger amount. But anyway, I decided to use a Stripe payment link. That is a link that you can give to someone and they can pay an amount, they can buy a product, and you do not have to code anything, which is a very nice attribute. And it's the reason why I chose it. It's easy to set up. And after you pay through that payment link, you can set a custom redirect URL. So I redirect this back to the NPM Kiosk, where we have like a transaction receipt ID, and I can use that. It's like very long and random. So I use that as the secret for downloading the NPM package. And another nice attribute of it is that we do not need a database. Whenever we need to see has somebody bought it, we just directly call Stripe, see the Stripe API, see if they have bought it. We can even like use Stripe metadata fields to like read and write certain values. And that way we do not need to set up a database, which I think, now I need to worry about getting a Postgres and setting up my schema and everything like that.
This is super smart because you also don't need to handle all the payments, all the user data. It's out there. Stripe handles it, and you can just get the money. That's like a super nice feature that Stripe enables. And I'm really curious what else you can hack on with those Stripe payments because this is like crazy idea, and apparently it works. Really love it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to take too much credit for the idea. I mean, it's just like a very basic plugging of two APIs together.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how long have you been using it in production in Remotion, and do you have any issues with that? Do you had any problems that you had to resolve before you announced it on Twitter and before you got me and Michał excited about it?
So we don't really use it in production yet. For that, I kind of have to make my first private package yet. The only experience that I have was I figured I could sell the NPM kiosk through the NPM kiosk itself, kind of like as a fun meta way to demonstrate that it works. I think I've sold like 5 copies for it and made $200 from it.
Awesome.
And there were some bugs which I fixed now. But I mean, if we want to scale it up, there are some issues, and I have to admit that. So in that URL that you get, that secret, you need to also put it in your package JSON, and effectively you commit the secret. Now, if you push that to a public repo, you can leak the secret, and yeah, like somebody could also steal the package. For this case, I tried to make a revoke functionality, which invalidates the secret. But even just privately, I send it via WhatsApp to my friend. Hey, here's the link. You can also have the NPM package for free. So I think a big issue of it is that it's not a perfectly secure system. And to the many people who have told me this, that it's not perfectly secure, I tell them it is by design. It's by design. Mm-hmm. It is always a trade-off between how easy it is to implement such a system and security.
Yeah.
And since I think by default the UX is not very good, I am happy to make a system that is easy for the user, but then accept that there will be some rate of piracy.
Yeah, and also it's not like that you're losing something. Maybe someone wouldn't even pay for that. And also you will only figure out the actual scale of, I don't know, theft if enough people are going to use it, right? So I think that's like the future problem to have, and it's something that you can probably tackle later if you feel like, even if it breaks the experience, but hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's just software, right? What's the damage for me if somebody pirates my software? It is different than if somebody steals like physical goods from me. So I encourage anybody who wants to sell something to think about what damage will happen to me if I have a lot of piracy, if I make it easy to pirate, and what sales will I lose if I make the security so good that it will lead to a bad user experience. We also see that, for example, with DRM for DVDs or video games, it is wildly unpopular. So you will also incur some loss by making it perfectly secure. So everybody has to decide on their own what their trade-off should be and make a decision that's best for them.
So the question, going back to the main functionality of Kiosk, is you said you are not using it yet in production in Remotion, but you are selling Kiosk through Kiosk, and you sold 5. From those 5 people, are you aware that they're actually using it to sell some packages?
On that front, I must say it has been rather disappointing. I've not yet seen somebody use it for real. I mean, some people are looking at it a bit, but like what's also very interesting is that there are so many nuances to this, and it's not exactly what like there has not been yet a perfect match where, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. Like one buyer wanted it for subscriptions. So they say, okay, you need to subscribe to my package. So they are now like adapting it to support subscriptions. Another buyer said, okay, I was just curious and also want to support it a bit, but I would really like it to be available for Python. So now maybe they just said, thank you for the idea, and they will rebuild it for Python. And I think I also lost so many sales because even my relatively unopinionated stack was not the perfect fit for them. So I got requests. When will you integrate Bitcoin? When will you integrate Gumroad?
Oh man!
When will you implement free trial?
On your hands now 2 different packages. You have Remotion and you have Kiosk, and you have the same difficult questions from users asking for features from both of them. So I think I wish I had the same issues as you, the same problems as you, that you have 2 popular libraries that people just want you to improve on. I think I wish you all the best with Kiosk. I feel like this can be a viable idea, and this can be something that transforms the open source space from sponsorships on GitHub to paid packages, because it's one thing is to sponsor someone because I like this person, I like the idea. Another thing is I pay for what I use. I just love this functionality, and I pay because I download it. So yeah, best of luck to all of these efforts, and thank you so much, guys, for joining this coffee talk by Callstack. And I hope to see you around with more ideas just like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on and allowing me to share this idea with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye-bye.